everybody. I'd like to call the executive committee meeting to order at 10:45. If I could get you guys to pay attention. It's not loud? It's not loud. It's not loud at all. Can we look at that really fast? We can do the pledge in the meantime. So, Katie, would you please lead us? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is that better? No, still quiet.
I don't know if the switches on the side have anything to do with it. You
Hello? Nope.
want me to try mine and see?
Sure.
Well, call for roll call.
Can we have roll call, please?
Parker,
No, it's not. We have no volume on it. We don't know why.
I'm not,
Nope, you're not.
do you want me to continue or do you want me to wait?
Well, what do you, hang on, just hang on a second.
Everything's normal over here.
Well, we'll just have to, can we call IT and then we'll go ahead and do roll call? Thank you.
Balich? Berkowitz?
Yes.
Dean Schlattman? Freeman?
Here.
Mueller?
Here.
Pretzel? Richmond? Trinier?
Here.
Van Dyne?
Here.
Williams? Ogalla?
Here.
Your quorum.
Thank you. Oh, I was trying to hire that chair, but it's not going up. Okay, next we have approval of minutes from the executive committee meeting from August 8th. Can I get a motion?
Motion Freeman.
Motion Freeman. Second Dean Schlattman. No. Roll call, please.
Balich?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Dean Schlattman? Freeman? Mueller?
Yes.
Pretzel?
Yes.
Richmond?
Yes.
Trinier?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Williams? Ogalla?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, we move into old business. So we have item number 1, allocations to date, and number 2, FEMA resolutions and allocations. Those are your reference documents. Next, we are going to be moving, oh, there is Mike. He's already there.
These are the only 4 outstanding ones under this.
3.
Or those are the only 3 outstanding under that particular.
Okay.
category.
I don't know if your mic's going to work or not, but try it.
Hello. Yeah, sounds good.
I don't know. No, we're all quiet
Okay.
today. That's okay. Okay, so, she's recording it
I'm recording it. I'm gonna check with someone about if they can hear it on.
online. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so first is our capital building and building supplies, and we have 3 outstanding issues, which is the bathroom,
Yep,
the
and-
loading dock,
And so
sound.
the loading dock is its final project is completing today. I don't know if anyone saw it, but they're doing a little asphalt to reduce a trip hazard on the ramp, just on grading. And so that'll be finalized today. So that one is done. That came in budget. I think I don't have it in front of me, but it's like 78,000, 79,000 there. The bathrooms, we're still waiting on some pricing on that, like a final pricing. I would hope in the next month we will have that. They came in and toured. It's been over a month now, and we just haven't gotten anything back from the potential contractor.
And so we had one contractor come in or what?
Yes.
And you've been in contact with them?
We have been. We haven't gotten anything back yet. And so I don't know if something came up on their end, but we've reached out a couple times and they said soon, but had nothing yet. So
Okay, all right. And then the next is the county board sound system.
county board sound system, I believe we got a quote for an additional camera in here and that came in at just under $9,000. And this was the chair's request, so I'll let him explain it because I do not. Is it
Yeah.
behind here? So you'd have a,
Look forward, yeah.
Yeah,
We had a
probably.
conversation. I don't think we're gonna move forward with that
Okay.
change. That was my thought.
The other outstanding issue on that was, remember, you wanted the additional microphones.
Oh, the additional mics in the county
Sure.
board
Or
in the room, because on land use day, land use committee day, land use staff comes in and sits. And then lots of county board members do, and sometimes we sit off to that side tables where there's nothing. Now, they did talk about moving the cameras, not the cameras, the mics from the front little table area over there, but then I'm not sure how that works with the camera, because if I turn my mic off, and Mike is the only one that has his mic on, then the camera should focus on Mike, so that way people can hear
Yeah.
sometimes better. So, do you know about that?
I am aware of it, and so I would say that if we were to add the 6 additional, let's see, it's 3 desks at 2 each that you were looking at. That's about 30,000 in additional mic costs. We have the 4 microphones at the table up front that are obviously movable to that location. We have 6 microphones at the dais that would also be potentially movable in your land use situation. Not so much, because you would have committee members there. You have the 1 microphone at the podium that has the camera trained on it. And then we also have 2 handheld microphones that you could pass around to people if they had additional questions.
Okay, so if we move the ones for land use day, if we have land use staff or
It-
IT comes in, I'm not sure, move it over there if board members want to use it? Or could a board member just go and say, hey, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to grab one from up? Because if I'm sitting at a desk with a net, we can easily share a mic. So the only thing is, if that happens, does the camera go to the table then?
the camera stays with the microphone.
Yeah, the camera would stay with the microphone, so it would probably stay with, if you use the handhelds, I believe it stays with the dais. If you use the walk around wireless microphones, it would stay at the main screen as well. So
Not as big a issue.
you have, if all 22 board members showed up, you'd still have people sitting at the dais, and then you'd still have the 22 seats that would be microphone and camera in.
Okay. Go ahead, Jackie.
I just would question, wouldn't it make more sense to have either county board members or land use staff just sit down there at the table in the front without moving the microphones? If the camera is literally going to focus on, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this, you put your microphone over there, the camera's going to go over here when he's talking on your mic over there.
Yes.
So that's what I thought I heard, and that's what made me think, well, we should just occupy those seats that have a microphone.
Yeah, we can do that if we want to be on. I just want the ability to talk so you can be heard.
Right,
So I can just
right.
take the mic, sit where I want to sit, and I don't have to.
Well, as
go.
long as you don't care about the camera
I
part.
don't.
Yeah, I just don't see spending all that extra money.
Anyone else have a comment?
Just thank you, Judy. Just to follow up on that, it's like when we come for a committee meeting that we're not on here, we have to sit over there and then we have to come up to a mic here. So I think that us moving is just part of us not being on that committee.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that we're looking at is installing USB blocks on our desks. Cause that would really help. I know sometimes my stuff, I forget to charge it the night before and I've got like 11%. I'd rather take the money and put it towards that. I don't know how the rest of you guys feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know our facilities department is working on an option for that. And
In here too.
yeah, I think you have them built in here.
We don't.
You don't have them in there? Okay, all right. I will
Have it in here. We have a,
port for them, but you don't have.
Not USB.
Not USB.
Sometimes people don't bring the block. They just bring their cord.
we could just have some blocks here.
Well, that'd be fine too, but yeah.
I'm fine, Jackie, getting some blocks here. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't cost that much. We can ask staff to order some just to have.
So the request was to have them obtain a quote for installing USB and regular ports in both the county
Right.
boardroom and the committee room, so that you would have a regular plug-in and a USB next to it. So you would have both options. That is what the request, and they are working on getting that quote.
And
Okay.
Kim, if I could just interject, the way I've seen them, because I have them in my house, you still have both plugins.
Sure.
It's just in the center, you have two USB ports. I mean, those
I'm
are the
sure
good
they're
ones.
exploring all
Yeah,
of
it-
that for us, but
and I-
yes, that was what we asked.
And for the
on your behalf.
desks out there, it'll be like a built-on strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
So I think that makes a better choice of using the money. So that's the way we'll move,
Okay,
Mike.
sounds good.
Okay, so that's number 3. Okay, then moving forward to, the professional services for CT.
Sure. And so this was the website redevelopment project. We brought in a consultant, intrapersonal frequency, to begin the process of developing a strategic plan and an RFP for a website redevelopment. Just as a reminder, everyone, we have like 27 different county websites out there. This is hopefully going to bring everything in-house. The first step of the process was adding surveys and following user experience on our current websites. We have all the survey response data back in. I think some fun facts for you all. For the county's main page, willcounty.gov, we had 478 survey responses at the end of August. The circuit clerk had 458, and I don't have the actual clerk's number in front of me for some reason, but they had a significant amount in a shorter period of time from when they installed to the end of last month. And so they're going to be going through those surveys with everyone. I believe, have you?
We did get an email on the data. We were just trying to pull it up. I
Okay.
can't remember what the date.
And so
Down.
There's
there's going to be 3 sessions with this. A research session on the 11th of this month, a content session that will focus on the discovery phase with the existing website content and how people interact with that, and then a capstone phase for recommendations. We hope that, and we've had some good participation with that. I know if you guys have been sent links to it. So if anyone's interested, please let me know on that. And then we're looking at in October, kind of intrapersonal frequency, compiling everything and creating a procurement strategy package.
What do you mean by the interpersonal frequency?
They're the
That's the
consultant.
company.
That's the name of the consultant. So they're meeting with many of the departments, and not just the managers of the departments, but also a lot of the content creators who are different people at most points in time. And so they're going to be meeting with all of them, sharing the survey results, how they use their website, existing research they've done, meeting with these people, and then develop a procurement package for the county going forward.
Okay, and the only thing that I noticed when I was tooling around on a website or we had people apply or something is, and I know that's not a functionality of the website, but itself entirely, but is if you come and apply for a position and you send things to HR, right? There's nothing that comes back to say, hey, I received your resume, I received your application. That I think is a key thing, as well as we know, we've had crazy things with people who apply for different boards.
Mhm.
You apply for the board position and somehow it gets lost sometimes. I don't know if the notifications isn't good or not, but as the person who's applying to be on particular boards, say Board of Health, you also don't get a return to say, hey, we received your application.
And I do have good news on that in part 5, if you want to move along and let any.
Thank you. But Jackie has the question first. Let me put it
Yeah,
back on.
I will say, I did get a response to a board application
Oh, you
for one of
did?
the boards, so, and it came right away, so it was not an issue.
Hmm.
But I wanted to find out who is representing us as a county board for our portion of the website, who is involved in giving feedback to the interpersonal relationship builders, what are they?
Intrapersonal frequency.
Yes,
IPF, whatever. I don't know. I feel like I need an
Interpersonal.
acronym, but,
frequency. We haven't made any decision because we're
Okay.
just getting to that.
okay.
So I'll have staff send an email out and we'll figure out how and what we might do for there's three different sessions, you said?
Yeah, and it's on the 11th, 13th, and 26th again, so plenty of time to.
And we can do a leadership, the 3 of us, and decide how we want to handle that as well. And then maybe just leadership goes or, I mean, I know Jim's an IT guy, so.
IT and website are not necessarily the same. but-
They're not the same, but you had the logic behind that is all the same. Met, I see you have yours on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be something I'm sure the IT committee would be happy to help with.
I'll write that note right now. Thanks, Meta, for that. Okay, thanks, Mike.
All right.
Moving on from that, we're going to the software for HR, please.
Sure. And just as a reminder, this was software to not only change our payroll, but our whole HR onboarding process. Our payroll system, it's by hand right now. It is entered individually by our HR department. The software is about well over a decade old and has outlived its useful life and then some. I am happy to report that as of the end of last month, on August 29th, we have an executed contract with a company called Dayforce,
D-A-Y?
DAY Force. And and it's a part of On Actuate.
Say that again?
They keep buying everybody out. It's a smaller and smaller pool. So it's Dayforce of On Actuate, I believe is the official company name or a subsidiary of On Actuate. So our program kickoff will be Tuesday, October 1st.
Okay.
This is the HR software.
And what time is that?
I don't have a time on that, but it will be October 1st. I can get you a time.
Okay, that's a Monday, right?
Tuesday, according to this
It's
email.
a Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay. Just because like I've always said, I'd like my chair of IT and Kaplan IT and vice chair to be involved minimally with this stuff so that they can be aware of all the stuff going on. So and Kim a time and then hopefully an invite to Meta and vice chairs. Annette? Okay, good. Thank you. Software is complete for purchasing
Yep.
and software is for complete with budget and capital.
And I just wanted to give everyone an update. Oh, no, it would be number 8, sorry.
That's okay.
Yep.
We're at number 8 right
Okay.
now, Mike.
So this was a group we hired to look at the fiscal best practices of the county. Our finance department worked with the auditors department to create a plan or to help us with a plan to make sure that we are doing the best job we can to protect taxpayer dollars. And so many of the departments, many of the elected officials in this county, especially those that have inventory, that take payments for certain county operations, the clerk's office, the treasurer's office, we're getting best practices in place. And I've met with 65th North Group last week, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there, to kind of give me an overview as to how the project has been going. And I'm really excited as to what this will do for the county and just implementing best practices and things that on a day-to-day basis you might not think about, but they have seen it all with people trying to take advantage of government. And so we hope to have sometime early next year, maybe even into the spring, a plan in place that we will implement throughout the county that will be best practices, fraud prevention, embezzlement, risk prevention, things like that. So 65th North Group. Yep, and they do this all around the country, and some of the stories he has are unsurprising, but still shocking nonetheless.
And Mike, this project is not completed. That's just the first portion of it.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, they
Just
are.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah, they are still in the interview phase with many of the departments. Inventory is the main one,
Yeah.
and people who take payments to and from the county. So
Okay, Mike, Meta, did you want your,
I did. I have a question, but it's not about this software. It's about different software.
okay, hang on a sec, Meta.
If somebody wants to ask questions about this, they should
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, and then I don't see anybody unless Jackie, you just left your mic on. That's okay, you can leave it on. You ask a lot of questions, that's fine. So the only thing with this, Mike, is I know we'll be done and with some of this, but we're just gonna keep getting updates so we can understand what's going on.
yeah, I will keep you updated on this, and at some point in time, they're going to want to sit down with the finance committee on just reporting procedures that how they want to interact with the finance department and the auditors department, what information they'll be looking for.
Right, because I know that D365 can provide lots of reports. We did it based on what we did before.
Mhm.
There's probably new things we'd want to have reports generated that we currently don't.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so Meta, Why don't you go ahead and ask before I move anywhere else?
I just wanted to ask for an update on our, the county board software that we've been working on, with our agendas and all that stuff. So
All right.
I hadn't heard anything in a bit, so I thought,
We'll hold that until we're done with Mike, so.
Yeah, because it's aggravating me a lot right now. I go and make a comment and it takes me all the way to the bottom of the agenda. You know how you
Right.
can put the little
Slow note.
note in and then it drags me all the way to the bottom of the agenda. I gotta all the way back up to the top.
And that's a new fun thing, right?
Yeah, this is new. I haven't had this problem before.
every day.
We'll have a conversation. We'll include that now.
On a
Okay.
short agenda, don't.
So here we go. Now we are moving on to item number 9. And that is the update on 9 Osgood
Sure.
Street.
We are still in discussions with Joliet, and there's been, I don't want to say any hiccups along the way, but there's been some changes in Joliet recently. And so we're probably slowed down by a week, but I hope to have something for you, and I'd be more than happy to come back next Thursday to discuss.
We can, we've just been knowing this has been going on a very, very, very long time.
It's a complicated procedure. There's a lot of inspection reports going on, and there's a lot of legalese that gets involved with it. So
And so I'm okay with that. My issue is, and what I understand is that that's just using the north end of the building with the bays for the buses. Well, we used to be buses that pull in there for maintenance building and up to that first dock door. And then beyond that, we were supposed to have plans for public defender probation to move in. So are we still thinking that or what's going on?
we've got some other ideas with Joliet that are ongoing, but those negotiations are just happening. I will have an update for you next Thursday.
Okay, we'll add this for next Thursday.
That'd be perfect.
Okay. But Julie, you have a question.
Thank you. So when, the opportunity to purchase the Pace building came forward, we had a much different discussion. It was a discussion about consolidating county departments, using the building for county requirements. I remember there was even talk about the stalls for our trucks cleaning, and especially in the Joliet area when we're in the middle of winter. I don't recall the Joliet being a part of the conversation at the time we voted to acquire that building. So what I'm asking is that at least the capital committee be presented with the current thoughts and discussions that you refer to, Mike. I would like to know, what are these ideas and
Sure.
what's being talked about?
Sure, yeah, we'd be happy to present
Um,
that in Capital. And
Is it just Joliet? Is
Uh,
it Joliet Township as well?
No,
Are there any others?
no, this is just Joliet, and Joliet, for a main portion of when we looked at purchasing this building for $1, Joliet does their own fleet maintenance repair, right? That's something the county does not do. And so we are trying to figure out a way that is beneficial to everyone.
And like I said, I can go back and look at those minutes and listen to the recording, but I don't recall such a heavy focus being put on Joliet's needs. So I'm asking that.
So Julie, here's the thing. I'm asking that it stay here because at Capitol, there's only so many
Okay.
people. We have. the whole
Then the
group.
same
He's
request.
he is giving that, he just said he's gonna give us an update next Thursday on that, and you're 100% correct. We were told that we needed to purchase this building and we were gonna move probation, public defender and problem-solving courts from where they are at in buildings that are leased over there, renovate that, use that north end, and at that point, we might have had a conversation that also included possibly Joliet using it, but for Jeff Ronaldson and his whole crew to come in and wash our trucks after they've been out on the salt. That is correct. So somewhere between that, talking to the board and telling the board, asking the board to purchase it, and I know it was $1, irrelevant to me, because there's cost to build it out, right? And last year's budget included $5 million for that, and I see Jim has light, so I'll let him go on with that. But at some point, and we've been talking now, this is September, so we're 9 months. Yeah, we've been talking for almost a year on this whole thing, and we've changed. Not we haven't changed, but the executive's office has changed the dynamic of where this is going. And I'm not sure that probation, public defender, anybody's gonna be moving out. And I'm not sure if this is all gonna be used by Joliet. And what I do know was back at that time, you know, when the executive and I spoke, conversation did come up to say, well, if we decide not to use it, we can keep the building for 5 years and then we could sell it. So I'm not quite sure what the plan is, but I am going to let Jim go and
I
speak.
just want to, I asked for specific information. I would like specific.
He's going to give us specific
Okay.
information
Okay.
next
Thank you.
week. So go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, unfortunately, my Nostradamus cap actually worked. And I did put together what I thought was a realistic timeline on a dollar spend for this facility. And now we're at 10 months and we spent zero. So what we've done is we've taken roughly $4+ million from the taxpayers that wasn't needed in last year's budget. So I'd be very interested to see, you know, what the plans are for this and ultimately what what we're going to do with that $4 million plus. So I appreciate your candor, Mike, in coming forward and telling us that nothing's happened or that, but we got to look at realistically, because that's money that we took out of the taxpayers' pocket.
Sure.
So, thanks.
Yeah, I see that. Go ahead, Steve.
Me and Jim are thinking on the same plane. Is there supposed to be, are we supposed to be thinking about, how much money you're gonna add to the levy for all this stuff that we own, that we constantly don't do nothing about? How many years do we have Copperfield? Nothing. Now we're going into the same thing with Pace. We're gonna depend on Joliet, which was not why I voted for it. I didn't want nothing to do with Joliet. It was all about taking our people and putting them in our buildings and saving all the rent. And it's changing and changing and changing. And then I just want to know, is this going to be part of the levy? That you're going to have to add another $5 million onto this so that Joliet gets what they want? Are we going to have to add another $5 million onto Copperfield so that you can do something else for somebody other than Will County? That's where I'm at.
To answer your question, no.
Go ahead. Did you want to
Nope.
respond?
No, I think I can get to 10 if that,
No, Joe,
oh, okay.
do you want to say, you have your light on?
My comment was just, the gentleman said he would present it to us next week. Why don't we just let it be, wait till we get some answers next week and then we can jump on them then. How's that? Thank you.
So yeah, the intent is, and
Yep.
Mike said he's going to come back and do that. But I must agree with Jim, is we did put $5 million into last year's levy for this. So we did take it from taxpayers. We didn't have to do that. We could have had our budget and levy last year, $5 million less. Because now that's built in, right? We're not dropping this year's budget by $5 million. We're still adding to the budget. So that 5 million is still part of the levy that we're taking in. We're not going to be taking in 5 million less or having a conversation when we don't need that 5 million because we're going to possibly do something else, but we need an additional 400,000. I don't know what the numbers might be. Just saying, we haven't done that. So that is a concern. So, but Mike, we will have you on the agenda then for next week, sorry for that. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to move to number 10, which Steve, you'll be happy to know is a conversation about Copperfield.
There we go. And so we selected an architect engineering firm for this. Leggett is the name of the firm, L-E-G-E-T,
L-E-G-I-T?
E-T,
E-T?
E-T. And so they've done preliminary walkthroughs of the property as recently as yesterday. And everyone knows this is going to be an expensive project, but this is going to be moving our VAC out of rented space into a full-time county-owned building. The hope is to have emergency, I believe, and don't quote me on this, I always get the adjectives wrong, but I believe it's emergency housing for veterans or transitional housing for veterans, one of those two, in that space as well. And so they are going to be providing us with what we are looking at for kind of a restoration of the envelope of the building, So the roof, the mechanical, the windows have been abandoned for years. What we have to do in that space to get the building back up to speed, to move in our VAC, and then as we continue talks with other, and we'll get an idea of cost on that, and then we'll continue talks with other partners. And I know I've mentioned before, moving ROE into that space might be something that would make a lot of sense and cut down on leased space as well. And then a Joliet Administrative Office is interested in moving in there that would help fill out the building. It's a very large space and you don't want any vacant space in there because redoing the whole envelope of the building is going to be rather cost prohibitive. So if we have a full building, then it would make sense.
Okay, so this Leggett, you said?
Leggett.
Leggett?
Yeah.
Leggett is looking at the building as it is today, the outside parking lot, sidewalks, doors, windows, all that. And they'll give us an estimate of what it's going to take to bring that up to something we could actually use
We
it.
could start the process of building out. What does this cost? Is it worth it to you? Let's build it out because I think I think this board has agreed in the past 6 months. And that's been one of the loss of focus. I don't want to say loss of focus, but further focus on Copperfield to get it done because I think we have something in place that makes sense to everyone on this board. So with that, it would move VAC out of the Glenwood space, reduce our leased footprint there and move everybody into the Copperfield space, but it's going to be an expensive endeavor.
Right, but I do think, I know I spoke a lot with the previous president of the VAC. I don't talk a lot to the current one, but that's what they really wanted. They wanted the VAC in there. We have all the exercise equipment. They were talking about housing so that we have a nice spot that our homeless vets could use as a temporary until they can get something more
Yeah.
permanent. And I know there was conversation even when Joliet Township was looking to purchase it at one time, that the Joliet administration for the fire wanted to
Yeah,
consolidate.
and obviously the leadership at Joliet Township has changed and they have not reached out on that in a
Correct.
long period of time. And then we've been working kind of hand in hand with this one, this project, looking at Copperfield. And then the Housing Authority of Joliet is looking at some veteran centric options in the area and how these can play into each other. And then starting to explore the space as to what grants are available when you're in this veteran space.
Right, because I know I talked a lot to Garland because he does that, right? He's part of that Housing Authority of Joliet. And one of the main things is when you have when you want to do something like that, you have to make sure there are support services around. So that's why this makes it a good location for this type of use.
Yes.
And we've owned this building for a very long time, not done anything. And I think this is something that, as far as taxpayers say, here's the thing, we're doing this for our vets. At Joliet, the administration for the fire would come in, they would pay rent or something
They
like
would pay
that.
rent and help,
Right, help keep.
you're not in the profit industry in county government, but you want to make sure you're doing the responsible things. And if we have somebody who's interested in a rent agreement there that helps offset the cost, that'd
Right.
be great.
I'm not sure about the ROE. I mean, the ROE would have to decide she wants to go there because I know the executives often said, I can't make an elected official go there. So I'm not sure. Have you guys had that conversation?
It's been a few months, but yes.
You've had.
Yeah, I believe so. I would have to check my memory on that one, but I believe so. And that's just a space. We're just looking at square footage at this point in time and what we think we'll have available. And that space that's in the Rialto building would fit pretty well into the space in Copperfield and then reduce our rent.
And how many parking spots are there again? I forget. Do you? I don't know if
Boy.
you
Yeah,
know. 70, right?
70 or 79.
And is there any ability, will there be a need for more, do you think?
There may be, but you're going to there's a VOA housing development that's going in across the street that has ample parking. And then you have the VA clinic there as well that has ample parking that would be an agreement that depending on who would move into the space.
Oh, so we might build an agreement with the other group to possibly
And
use.
the easiest one in my eyes, and I've not reached out on this, but I'm sure the VA would be more than happy to provide 10 to 15 parking spaces when you're housing the VAC.
Yep, well, yeah, I don't
So.
see why they wouldn't. Do you want to say anything, Jack? I know I left your, asked you just
No,
leave your mic.
I've just been hunting through the minutes trying to find anything that talks about using it with the city of Joliet. I couldn't find anything.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy to hear about that. And so first.
If you're
we'll get-
happy, I'm happy.
Good, Mike. So first we'll get an update of, estimate of what it's gonna cost to do that wrap kind of fix, right?
Yeah, and so Dave and Tom Dolan were over with them yesterday, and I was able to talk to Tom a little bit today. And I'm guessing that this could be something that I might have an update for you as soon as Thursday. Is just kind of a preliminary thought process on.
Well, we'll just put you on the agenda next
I
week.
will take 9, 10, and 11 on the agenda for next time.
We'll do that.
Okay,
That way we can, just move that
I'll keep
forward.
you
So you have
updated.
more information then.
and then everyone good to move on to 11 because I have a
I'm
brief-
ready to move on
Okay.
to 11, yeah.
Brief update on this one. We want to make sure we're doing this RFQ appropriately. I know we've had this discussion last month. It was sent over to the state's attorney's office either last night or this morning for review, for a plan review on that to make sure that we're all in good compliance. And so I'll have an update for you on that next Thursday.
And what'd you say was sent?
It was either last night or today.
Oh, just recently.
Yeah.
And so, okay, hang on a sec. All right, go ahead, Jim.
So if let's just say that you're able to move this thing forward, because it's been several months, Mike.
Mhm.
I appreciate the effort on getting this done. We did and I'm sorry, I'm new to capital. So if I ask a question that's, we did a similar assessment 2010, 2012, 10, 15 years ago or something like that, I'll call it. Couldn't we just do a copy and paste and do something
Sure.
similar from there, just replace some dates and some addresses and move forward
Yeah,
with it from there?
And the complicating factor on this has been issue an RFP, don't issue an RFP, issue an RFQ. And so I just want to make sure it's getting done appropriately. And the contracting community is aware of everything that has happened with this, the engineering community. So I want to make sure that what we put on the street is accurate and fair to everyone involved.
Okay, because the reason I ask that is because we're in the middle of budgeting process. This is the time that we need to make sure that we accurately allocate capital or revenue towards capital projects and that, and not have any missteps with any funding or that. But at the same token too, understand what our needs are and do it in a timely manner. So
Totally agree.
that's something that I would like to see done, sooner rather than later. And I don't know what the timeline is for getting a bid out and then getting bids back and then
Yeah.
evaluating it. So I don't think that's before October, unfortunately.
We would be probably 30 days.
30 days to get the bid out or 30 days to, Get 'em
If we
back.
have 7 days of review, any changes, 7 to 10 days, and then 21 days on the street for somebody to prepare.
Oh.
so possibly the 1st of October, you might have some
Possibly, yeah.
ideas back. Unfortunately, that cuts it a little tight
It does.
for budgeting and that, but so I mean, Jackie, I know you, I
Yeah.
don't know, you're shaking your head when I was talking, so I
I
mean,
will
I'll.
jump right in with you, Jim, because I totally agree. This is not a good time to be trying to do this, given that we can't plan for it in the budget because we don't know what we're planning for.
Well, I think we should get the needs assessment done because then what we can do is try and look at it. It does give us a little bit of understanding in the October timeframe and November before we actually approve it. So I would like to see it's done sooner rather than later. I don't want us dragging our feet.
No,
you know,
and you're right. It was 2010, I think, when we had the first, it's so funny. I found it in my Dropbox today.
Unfortunately,
speaking
numbers
of
are the
all
only
the
thing that
space.
sticks in my head. so.
Mike, do you know what the last one costs? I know things would change, but, or have an estimate of what we think it might cost?
Boy,
You know who could answer is our finance person.
you know,
Marcy could look up their bill.
I will get you a number, but I will tell you that
That money hasn't been.
I believe we have money allocated in capital this year's
You do.
budget. That we've been working together on it. We will keep you informed of the process on that to make sure we're all in agreement on it. But that's allocated in this year's budget. I think
You're right.
we were able
It
to
is
work
in this
together.
year's Budget. I don't remember how much was in
I-
there.
Our facilities guys thought it was enough to cover what the bids would come back with.
Do you happen to know, Marcy, what the amount is? I know. So Marcy said that we have about 200,000 in there in professional services for this, so.
And, yep.
So
And
we'll see if that can fit in for that. My only question with this is, we did ask for this by board approval in March. It did get signed by the executive in April. Then there was a lag time in between until it came back at Capitol in June. And we just never got this RFP going. I don't know why there was a lag after the
I can, yeah,
one time after it was signed. I don't understand because we were able to go ahead and get the Copperfield thing out right away, really fast. And we've already hired somebody. So what's the delay here?
yeah, and so the request for an RFP was put in to the board. That was signed, and then the following month, the capital committee talked about rescinding that and brought in a company to,
It wasn't until June. We
no,
have,
that conversation was ongoing, but then they brought in a committee in June to rescind it, right? That, I believe, was voted on in committee, but it was said to have to move through executive. It did not that month, so we thought it would be the next month, which would have been July, call it. July, it got voted down in committee, right? And so then it led to a lot of thought process on our end as to what the appropriate avenue to take is after the board interviewed a potential candidate in a committee and what that would look like. And so I think we've come to some sort of arrangement, and we're going to have the state's attorney take a solid look at it, because I think it's important to protect the interests of the county when you.
okay, but whoa. So here's the thing. In March, at the March 5th Capital Improvements Committee, they vote to move an RFQ forward to the full county board. On March 21st, at the county board meeting, it was unanimously passed. At April 5th, the resolution was returned from the county executive's office, signed. Now, between April 5th and May, we had funds identified for that. Now, June 4th, there wasn't an interview. There was a presentation by White and Company. I don't think that's an interview. There was no interview. No one could vote on it because it wasn't on the agenda.
But
Okay.
nonetheless, the intention of the committee at that point in time, I think, was 6-0 to rescind the request. And so
But
that's
there
where,
there was just a conversation because it didn't.
it wasn't an official vote, but I think I would have the chair of the committee correct me, but I believe it went 6-0 of everyone in support of removing it from.
And so it never moved forward to the full board, and in the
Correct.
respect that it never moved forward to the board.
But you would understand my confusion as the direction of the.
My only confusion is simply this. After it was signed in April, why wasn't an RFQ created, written, sent to the state's attorney to review and go forward from there?
We had started the process. The board appeared to be changing direction. We had to throw out that whole process and start over again because we want to ensure that we are protecting the best interest.
I don't recall the board ever changing direction at all after that. I think there were some outside conversations had by certain individuals for whatever reason, and I could make it political, but I'm not going to make it political. And then suddenly we're like, well, we're just going to bring White back. Here's the thing. We've used White since I don't know what year. And we've had conversations with the state's attorney saying, listen, you've used this group for a very long time. It's probably a good idea to go and get somebody else, which is why we went out for the RFQ to begin with, because we don't want to let everybody think that we're only going to be working with White. I like White. The people at White I've gotten along fine with, no problems. But that makes sense. If we're going to be transparent and responsible to our residents, we need to do that. We can't just keep saying we're going to go ahead and use the same group because it seems kind of funny to me. So that's really what I want to say. But you are going to have an update for us on Thursday of this because we're moving 9, 10, and 11 to next week. Okay, I have some lights on.
I just want to help you with the date. I have it in front of me. I pulled it up in the Dropbox. The official facility needs analysis was presented to us May 14th, 2010.
Okay, thanks. Hang on. May 14th, 2010. Yep.
That's all I wanted to say. That was the first one.
Okay, I appreciate that. And we could probably go back and look and see what it
And
costs.
master plan was 2011, August. And I was thinking that I had something from 2018 in my Dropbox, but I don't think so.
When the update came through.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that. I'm gonna put next on because I don't know who next was Meta. Meta, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure folks were aware that on April 17th, Judy and I did meet with Jason Dwyer from White and Company here. And we spoke about the needs assessment they did then, the one that they revamped and did again, I believe it was 2019.
Yep.
And we asked him to come and talk to the Capital Committee about that and to talk about how we could possibly move forward with them in this capacity.
Mhm.
So I just wanted, you had asked what happened between certain dates, and I just wanted to make sure folks were aware that Judy and I had a meeting with,
So while we here,
excuse me, can I finish?
you may finish.
We
Go
had a
ahead.
meeting with Jason Dwyer on April 17th, and that was what we talked about. I do have detailed notes. I just don't have them with me. So-
And so I just want to clarify also that I didn't bring that forward, that the Chair of Capital did bring Jason Dwyer forward. And that after that conversation, we did speak with the state's attorney, and they basically said we really should go out to bid because it makes sense to be more transparent. So that was a thing, but I know that it was voted on unanimously. So something happened in between when we voted for it at the county board meeting and April 19th that caused a change that you were thinking we should bring Jason forward. So it's just an issue. So anyway, it looks like
Judy.
I was there, Meta, you're right.
Stop acting like.
I'm
you
not
were drugged
acting,
into this.
listen, point of order. I'm not acting like I was drug anything. You asked for us to have the meeting. I didn't ask for the meeting. And did I ask for the meeting to meet with
If you don't want to
Jason?
have a meeting, just say no.
I'm always willing to have a meeting with anybody, so. Go ahead. Julie, you have a question.
No, I don't have a question. I have a fact. Again, Mike, that was not unanimous. I objected during that meeting because during the meeting, I asked Jason, after the conversation was, we should have White do this along with another company whose name I can't bring forward, that is not as known to me as White is. They, because they know our county so well, will move forward. They'll do this plan. At that point in time, I asked a question. I said, can you give us the cost, the approximate cost of these services? And he said, no. And I said, can you give us a minimum? Just give us a guess or a maximum. Can you give us any parameters of the cost of this? And the answer was no. And at that point in time, I said, I won't support anything other than us going out for a request for proposal or whichever RFQ. And that was the reason why, because we cannot blindly just hire another person, even if we've got such a close relationship with. And like Mary said, we should be careful in that respect. So that part of the transaction seems to keep disappearing, but it happened. And
No, I know.
we need to make sure we have some idea of what this is going to cost, what we would need to budget. And I just want to remind everyone that that was a conversation that happened.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I appreciate you bringing that up. And I'm just going to go to the minutes of the June 4th meeting where you made you made the motion to rescind. And it was seconded by Member Williams, but you made the motion to rescind. You made the motion to rescind the request for an RFP. So it was unanimous. You made the motion.
Okay.
So,
Okay, guys.
yeah, I would recommend going back to looking at it because the minutes say unanimous. And so that's what I'm going off of. If my memory is
I'll
wrong
go
on
look at
that.
it. I'll look at it.
Yeah,
again.
it's
Thank
the
you.
June 4th meeting. I would go look at it.
Sherry.
I know I can't call the question at a committee meeting. However, if I could, I most certainly would. Can we move on?
So we can move on. I just have one more point to make. So when we look at this schedule, regardless of side conversations and everything like that, we did have 60 days after the April 5th to the June 4th. And since July 2nd, we've had another 60 days. So there's just seems to be a difference of opinion here on how we want to move forward. And I kind of just feel like we're dragging our feet on this, and maybe that's just my thoughts. So anyway, Mike, we'll have you down. You'll have some updates for us. I look
Gladly
forward to it.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, moving forward to other new business, there isn't any. Next is the assignment request for all the different committees, and we don't have anything to add, do we, that we know of?
No.
Okay, we don't have anything to add that I know of. Oh my gosh, I've got lots of things this month. Moving forward all the way through to other new business. Request for state's attorney, those situations are just going to sit there because of all this pending litigation, but I don't want to forget, so we'll hang on to those. And then moving forward from there, I would like a motion to accept the committee assignment request as amended. Motion ballot, second Richmond.
We need a new roll call, 'cause I'm in a meeting.
We'll do a new roll call. There we go.
Thank you. Parker,
Yes.
Balich, Berkowitz,
Yes.
Dean Schlotman, Freeman, Mueller,
Yes.
Pretzel,
Yes.
Richmond, Trinier,
Yes.
Van Dyne,
Yes.
Williams, Ogalla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any public comments today? If you would like to come up to one of these chairs, Jim is putting the mic on for you. If you could just, there you go. If you could go ahead and just tell us your name and then go ahead with what you want to say. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good morning, Board. My name is Mike Kabliska. I live in Manuka. I work for an animal protection organization, Shark, showing animals respect and kindness. I came before the board about 1 year ago with Deputy Chief Jungles from the Sheriff's Department. And we tried to inform you about the cruelty of this steer tailing that's taking place. And I wanted to let you know it's still going on. The numbers are down, but it's still going on out there. There are still a few events. And I see you have it, it's still docketed there, X1, waiting for an opinion from the state's attorney, I guess. And so I just wanted to let you know that it's still going on. We're still filming this. And I wanted to get an update where that ordinance was.
Mary, you want to come forward? It is public comment, but I run the meeting, so, yeah. Go ahead, Mary.
So we're looking at actually state legislation that would give the county board more authority to regulate by ordinance. We do have a meeting with the Farm Bureau next week because their support is going to be essential to get anything passed. So that's where we're at.
That's good to hear, Mary. So we've got an update there
Mhm.
on that, because I know that Farm Bureau, there were some, we have to have their support.
Well,
for-
they have legitimate concerns. They got to make sure it doesn't impact inadvertently farm operations. So, yep, we got to be cooperative.
Can I
Great.
ask what the next step is after that? Will it come back?
You know what
Or-
what we'll do, Mike, is you can give staff your contact information. When I hear back from Mary, we'll probably bring it forward to the board again for Mary to give us an update, and then you'd be able to hear at that time. So, but go ahead and make sure staff has your contact information. Sandy should be out sitting at her desk. You could do that, and then we'll contact you, so you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We, all right, turn the mic off. I don't have so we need, we don't have any comment section here for board members, but we typically do that during this time. Micah, go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to comment that in your emails from staff, you should have received a flyer for the public health and public safeties. Next Tuesday's meeting, we'll be having a side-by-side burn. Please share that with anyone you know on your Facebook or whatever. It's very educational, very informative, and I hope to see you all there. And on a second note, UCCI has also had several people who have been concerned about the steer tailing. So I've been working with Mary, I shouldn't say working with, I've been hounding Mary to see where that is at. So hopefully it will come through so we can get them to help push with their legislators as well. I can't remember the gentleman's name, because I'm not very good with names, but there's a couple on the UCCI that has a problem in their area too.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that information. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that information. Sorry, my mic wasn't on, so I repeated myself. Okay, chairman reports and announcements. I do not have any. We don't have a need for executive session. I get a motion to adjourn, please. Motion Pretzel. Second Parker, all in favor? Well, just. Thank you.
11:39.
Yep, I know that feeling.